What's up, peeps? Julian Williams here at the distance. Got a video for you guys this evening. It's another post-fight video. Anselmo Moreno versus Abner. So I'm sitting here just looking at my aquarium, thinking, whatnot. Just looking at the fish here in my aquarium and, just thinking about life. So anyway, let's get into the fight between Anselmo Moreno and Abner. And I'm going to probably keep this video as short as possible because I know my phone is probably going to start showing up talking about data, storage, this, that, and the third. And the reason being is because I felt like downloading the Prince Sign of the Times album off of iTunes today. Haven't listened to it yet. So anyway, let's get into the fight. This was a rough and tumble fight for Moreno. Personally, I thought that he should have done a little bit different than what he was doing. I don't think he should have stood. He should have stood in front of Mares and traded with him. The reason being, I think he should try to make it more so like a Jimmy Young kind of fight. Tough to score, difficult, tricky. Use lateral movement to set up his counter shots, and kind of stay away from Mares. Make it a tough fight. Make Mares kind of have to dip in with his head, catch him with left hands going in. He did well at it when he did it. It's just the fact that he kept standing in front of him and trading with him. But every time that Moreno uses foot speed on the outside, jab, countered, and also I think he should look more for the left to the body compared to he did in the first round. He threw a few lefts to the body, but the right hand began to land for Mares. The reason that the right hand was landing was because of how Moreno tries to slap down shots. When he's slapping down shots, he tends to drop his hands because he does it in a very awkward way, in an awkward stance. He gets himself out of position, and he's just susceptible to be hit. So that's why right hands were landing for Mares. Because also when he was throwing his left hand, he was so open because he wasn't getting his hand back in time to defend himself. So he continued to get hit with right hands, and Mares was able to cut the ring off a lot of the time because you could tell in the beginning of the fight, Mares didn't really want to chase him, even though there were moments when Mares chased him. Moreno really should have fought a lot differently. He stood on the outside, countered, and used his foot speed and set up his shots, at the center of the ring. That's where he did well. On the other hand, Mares did well, throwing at a high volume, fighting at a fast pace, dipping in with his head, throwing to the body. Kind of similar to, if you look at this, I want to say it's a sixth fight between LaMotta and Robinson. I think it was that fight. I'm thinking at the top of my head again, where every time every time LaMotta was close to Robinson, he just ripped to the body. And I was thinking on paper that this fight would be kind of like a watered down version of Esteban De Jesus versus Roberto Duran, like the first fight, when De Jesus was able to stand on the outside and just pick his shots off early, and possibly when he caught Duran early in the first round. I thought Moreno was going to be able to do it, and if I did a prediction video, I would have went with Moreno winning. But just overall, I thought Mares did a good job. Whenever he was close to Moreno, just throwing that volume and touching him. You could probably tell Moreno's a fighter that does not like to be, that pretty much just doesn't like any contact. He's not a physical fighter by any means. He likes to control the fight with his hands. He doesn't clinch. And he doesn't fight well off the back foot, which was evident in this fight. So Mares did fight the perfect fight, against a fighter like Moreno, who is a top guy at 118, and is very talented and tricky, and can be very tricky and hard to fight. So overall, good fight for Mares. As far as the referee Raul Caiz, I did think it was a bit much when he did deduct the point. Fighter has to protect himself, but also the referee has to protect the fighter as well. And the first thing, that the referee says to you prior to a fight, protect yourself at all times. And Moreno was protecting himself. You know, Mars was coming in with his head, and this, that, and the third. But hey, it is what it is. You know, nothing you can really do about it. So, be honest with you, I would like to see Mars fight Donaire. More than likely, it's not going to happen. But I would love to see that fight. If not Donaire, Rigan Diaz is another decent fight, but that's not going to happen. Another decent fight is what's his name, punk ass Rico Ramos. Another decent one. So anyway, let me know what you think. I'm out of here. That was the distance. Thanks for watching. Peace.